Hello everybody, in this lesson I will help you with your prelim exam preparation. I will discuss the Gauteng 2024 paper question 5. On this slide you will see the first part of the question and this is the rest of the question. Remember, this question counts 21 marks, so my suggestion is that this shouldn't take you longer than 21 minutes during the exam to complete. And why don't you pause the video and quickly attempt the question yourself and then come back to the answers. 5.1. The point P2√3 lies in the Cartesian plane. Determine the coordinates of the image of point P if P is rotated about the origin through 90 degrees in an anti-clockwise direction. Now you will see that I gave you the sketch there. They didn't ask for it, but maybe the sketch will just help you to understand what this rotation was all about. So there you find the point P2√3 and then there you will find the rotation. Now the rule for a rotation through 90 degrees in an anti-clockwise direction is xy becomes minus yx. So this implies that the x and y coordinate will swap and you add a negative to the y. So have a look. Our point 2√3 will become √3 2, the x and y coordinate swapped, and then this minus you will have to add on the x. And if you look at the point, then it's clear that that was indeed the point negative √3 2. You can see the x must be negative and there's the y. And then this one counts 2 marks coming your way. 5.2. The graph of h of x is equal to a to the power of x is sketched below. This one is an exponential function since the x is the exponent. A, -1.5, is a point on the graph of h, and there you can see the point. Question 1. Substantiate why the coordinates of q, the y-intercept of h, are 0 and 1. So they gave us this point and they said that it's 0, 1, and now they want us to substantiate why it's that. Now, do you agree there at the point Q, that is the y-intercept, and the rule for the y-intercept is make x 0. Into our little formula, h of x is equal to a to the x. Now, when we make the x 0, we end with a to the 0. And remember, there's a rule in exponents that says anything to the 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, that's the reason why Q's coordinates are 0 and 1. And this is 2 marks, so I think it was there and there is your 2 marks. Question 2, calculate the value of a. So what is that? So in fact, we are finding the equation of our exponential function. Now, in order to do that, we need to write down the equation, and then we need a point that lives on the graph. Look, we know Q, but that won't help much. So the only other point we have is the point A, -1.5. And this one consists of an x and a y. So we can substitute. In y's place, remember, h of x means y. We can substitute a half equals, and then in x's place, -1, a to the -1. Then, rules of exponents, that thing is the same as 1 over and then we can cross multiply, and a's value is 2. Where's the marks? The marks are substitution, final answer 2 marks. 5.2.3. Write down the equation of the inverse function in the form y is equal to. Now, from the previous slide, we know that, let's see, h of x was 2 to the x, since a's value we calculated was 2. Then, for the inverse, what is inverse? Inverse is the reflection about the line y is equal to x, and therefore the two coordinates will swap. So therefore, now we can write in the place of y, we write x. In the place of x, we write y. So this is in fact the answer, but they want it in the form y is equal to, in other words, in standard form. So our problem here is we need to rewrite our exponential equation into a logarithmic equation. How will we do that? You do it like this. You write log. The base of the exponent stays the base of the logarithm. Then the exponent gets expelled. In other words, the y will stand on its own, and the lonely x there, you will get some friends and will stand with the log. And therefore your final answer, y is equal to log base 2 x. Where's the marks? There where you swapped, there where you swapped x and y's coordinate, because that showed that you knew that inverse was the swapping of the two coordinates. In fact, the reflection about the line y is equal to x, and then final answer, 2 marks. Number 4, draw a sketch graph of the inverse, h's inverse. Indicate the coordinates of 2 points that lie on this graph. So, inverse is the reflection about the line, a very crooked one in this case, y is equal to x, and then our inverse function will look like that. Remember, the inverse of an exponential function is a logarithmic function. So what do we need? If I were you, I would also add just the little arrows there, and be very careful here. There's an asymptote. Don't let your graph intersect the y-axis. And then we also need 2 points that lie on our graph. So what do we have? We have the point -1.5. Oh, and let's do this one first, sorry. We have q, which is the point 1 and 0. So therefore this is q, the point 0 and 1. And then we also have this point there, -1.5. And so a's coordinate, let's say it's this one over there, is going to be 0.5 and -1. So where's your 3 marks? Your marks are the shape of the graph, and please note, no intersection. You have to indicate the asymptote there. So you indicate the asymptote by not crossing the y-axis. And then this point, Q and A. 3 marks. 5.2.5. Read off from your graph the values of x for which log base 2x is greater than -1. Now remember, this is y. So we want to see at which x is the y greater than -1. So we are working on the logarithmic function, in other words, the green one. So we have this little point here. This is the point 0.5 and -1. This is the x, this is the y. So there, this is, let's do it like that. This is -1 on the y. So we want to know where the y will be greater than -1. So that means this is -1, everything going that way. The y will be greater than -1, and not equal, but just greater. And this point, at which x is all of this happening? It's happening at x is equal to 0.5, but x greater than 0.5. So therefore, it's x is greater than 2 to the -1 if you want, or just x is greater than 0.5, and this is worth 2 marks. 5.2.6. If g of x is equal to 100 times 3 to the x. Determine the values of x for which h of x is equal to g of x. Now, this one looks very weird, but in fact, they just want us to equate the two graphs. Remember, h of x, let me just write it here, h of x's equation was 2 to the x. So now we will just equate them. So on the left-hand side, h of x was 2 to the x. So on the left-hand side, in place of h of x, we write the equation 2 to the x. And in place of g of x, we will write this part, 100 times 3 to the x. And then we can divide both sides by 3 to the power of x, and we end with that. Then this thing, laws of exponents grade 9, we can rewrite that as inside a bracket 2 over 3 raised to that single x is equal to 100. And then the question said which values of x. So now we have to solve x. Again, once we have an exponential equation and we can't solve x there, then we are allowed to change that into a logarithmic equation. So we will do it like this. You write log, you say the base of the exponent stays the base of the logarithm. The x, the exponent, will get expelled and it will stand there on its own, and the lonely 100 will make some friends and stand there with the logarithm. And then that one you do with your calculator in one go, and then your answer is x is negative 11,36. And then this one counted 3 marks. So where's the marks? For equating the two, and then rewriting this exponential equation into logarithmic form, and the final answer. All that work for 3 marks. 5.3. Now this is a new question. It's got nothing to do with the previous one. And I remember that my kids, they really battled with this one. And it's in fact such an easy question. Let's read. Let's take this slow. It says there the price P. So P is, let me write this in green. P is the price in rands per unit of each item in a consignment of Q items. So Q is items and P is price, is given by, and then they give you this logarithmic equation. So it is just an equation that shows the price of whatever units of things that they were sending out. Now, number 3.1. Calculate the value of P. In other words, the price and the total price of the consignment when the consignment has 1,980 items. Now let's see. There's our equation. So what are we working out? Calculate the value of P. So we will work out P. And then what is Q's value? Q is the number of items. So in items place, in Q's place, we will substitute 1980. We'll do it. And then in one go on your calculator, you can work out P, and P is equal to 3. In other words, the price is 3 rand. But now look at this and the total price of the consignment. So we know per 1 unit, the price is 3 rand. How many of them were there? 1,980 times 3, and the final answer, 5,940 rand. And then this one counted 3 marks. So where's the marks? The marks are there. Substitution, P's value, final answer. You see, it wasn't so bad. Number 2 says, determine the number of items in the consignment when the price of each item is 2 rand. So what now? Determine the number of items. Items this is Q. When the price, this is P, is of each item is 2 rand. So that's P. So into our little formula, in P's place, we will substitute the price and then we will work out Q. Let's do it. There, I substituted. Then, in your next step, do you understand what happened there? Whenever you are stuck in a logarithmic equation, then you can change it into an exponential equation. How do we do that? So it's the other way around this time. Please note, on your log, if there's no base there, did you know that there is an invisible 10, and we call that thing the natural logarithm? So to convert this into an exponential equation, you write the base, there's the base, and then this one on its own, remember in the previous time it got expelled, so now it will go and stand there, and it becomes the exponent becomes the expelled one, and the expelled one becomes the exponent, and then whatever you find there will stand on its own. So that's how you convert back from a logarithmic equation to an exponential equation. And now we can just solve Q. So 10 squared is 100, and then, now we will just multiply everything by 2, and we end with 200 is equal to 20 plus Q. Let the 20 walk across, and Q's value is 180. So what does that mean? It means determine the number of items. So there were 180 items in the consignment when the price was 2 rand. 2 marks, where's your marks? Yikes, the marks are, look at this, substitution, final answer. So not even for that you get marks. I would give you a bonus mark, but it's not up to me. Thank you for watching my video. On the left hand side, if you click on that video, it will take you to question 6 of this 2024 prelim, Gauteng prelim. And then I also added the playlist for grade 12 functions and inverse if you need to look into that again. Goodbye.